Yeah, just on Chelsea. I suppose first of all, they've had that long winning run, but how do you feel they've kind of changed or adapted, got better compared to last year?
In all honesty, I don't know if they have much, to be honest, Dan. In terms of, I just think they're such a well-oiled machine. Like they just do what they need to do to get by. They have incredible quality, depth and quality that they've built over many seasons, and I think they just are a really well-oiled machine. I think it's by far the most difficult challenge in the WSL right now. Of course it is. I think is it 26 unbeaten or something like that. So, we want to try and break that run when we play them on Friday. But look, it's difficult, and I think when you play a team that has different ways to fix it, I don't think they've been playing as well as maybe Sonia would want them to. But that's natural as it's the first part of the season as a growth. But I expect the toughest of challenges this week, this coming Friday, and we got to be ready for the challenge of it.
What's impressed you about the defensive side of your game? Because obviously you are going to have to be resolute on Friday. 3 clean sheets. You must be pretty pleased with that.
Yeah, I am. I mean, look, Dan, look back over the history of me being a coach here. Like I think people put it down to just defenders. They put it just down to Fallon, but like we limit all the different things. Fallon is there at the end of that sequence, and she was there the other day when we needed her, and that's why she's a top goalkeeper. But I must stress it's the whole team's work ethic. You don't get clean sheets if you just defend really well as individuals. We defend as a team, and I think that's the key reason we keep so many clean sheets. It's always challenged when you play teams like Chelsea because they have so many ways they can score. So I think for us, it's just making sure that we try and minimise those, try and score ourselves, and then balance the game. But I think, look, I'm incredibly proud of how hard the players work for each other. I think that shows, and I've spoken about it many times, but I think that's the unique team spirit we have.
That's brilliant. Thanks for that, Mark. Best of luck.
Thank you, mate. Have a great day.
Thanks, Dan. Jamie, please.
Hey Mark, great
Morning,
to see you.
Jay. Great to see you too, mate.
Mark, I just want to ask, Sonia Bonpastor obviously won the treble last season, and the season before that, Emma Hayes has obviously taken this league by storm. But what's the differences from a manager's perspective of the two teams? Because some may argue they play a different style of football. I guess, what have you picked up on?
Yeah, Sonia's tried to adapt them. She's trying to play a little bit more kind of, and again, this is I don't mean any of this in derogatory. It's just a report on how we found them. Is that Chelsea have the ability to mix styles, so they can go direct. They can go aggressive. Obviously, they have Hannah that can build from the back in many ways as well. And so they can mix their style. So I think they can make it unpredictable, which means you've got to always be concentrating in your defensive structures. I think Sonia's added in. She's adapted the formation a little bit at times. And again, players. I think Chelsea just evolved with players. So different players bring different solutions to different problems. And I think that's really the key differences. I still think they have the same winning mentality. I think Sonia's continued that. And again, we have to. I think people aspire to kind of get to that level of consistency as a team. But our job is to try and disrupt that on Friday for sure. There's no doubt about that. But as I say, it's a big challenge and something we're looking forward to.
And you obviously had that nice FA Cup semi-final win against them, and then last season 2 really close results in the league. I guess, how do you strike the balance between playing against Chelsea, who have dominated the WSL, but also playing the Manchester United game? Like, how do you go about managing a game like this?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think you have to have balance. I think you have to have more of a mix than other games. You're going to have to rely on 1v1 defending. You have to, because they can separate quickly. I also think you can hurt Chelsea with the ball. I really do. I think that you can move through them. I think they're so attack minded that actually you can disrupt their structures. But you've got to be brave in doing that, because it's higher risk. Because they're really good in duels, so you have to be higher risk. But I think that those are the key things for me. You have to believe that you can beat them. And I think if you do that and you show that commitment, and I don't just mean without the ball, I mean with the ball, you have to show Chelsea that you can beat them. And if you can do that, and it was really close last year, we lost on 2 set pieces, and we have to be focused in that area too. So if we can do both of those, balance the dead ball situations as well as being aggressive, then we can give ourselves the best chance of trying to win the game.
Brilliant. Thanks, Mark. Best of
Thank
luck.
you, Jay. Have a good day.
Thanks, Jamie. Asif, please.
Hi, Mark. Hope
Good.
you're well.
I'm hope you well too, mate.
Anna Sandberg was missing from the squad last Sunday. Do you think she'll feature this weekend? And I just wondered if you had any updates on the returner's injury and whether you think she might feature in the near future.
Yes, so Asif. So yeah, Anna was just she got caught ill on the day, Asif. So that's why she dropped out of the squad. We was giving her a late fitness test, but she just couldn't pass it. And so she should be fine coming into this game. We've got Simi Arujo should be back in training today, so hopefully he'll be part of the matchday squad. Lee is training, but probably will miss this one. And then Millie, with the knee injury that she's had, wasn't as bad as we first thought, but she'll probably be out till around Christmas time, Asif. So we're hoping to welcome her back just after the new year. That'll be the time scale and the plan, hopefully.
Okay, so you used to playing against a Chelsea side led by somebody like Sam Kerr or Mero Ramirez, physical players who like to get behind. Does a Chelsea side now led by Aggie Beaver-Jones and Vika Captain offer you different problems?
Yes. Yes, if they do. And I think, watching Aggie, she's always trying to invade. Obviously, Captain is excellent energy in there. I think Alyssa Thompson, it depends how they play their system. Obviously, Kat Macaro, that you could name all their players, but I think they have really good invasive qualities. So they can dip the lines, they can, Aggie's been working on her kind of movement patterns, so you can see those as well. So we're going to have to watch the deeper runs, we're going to have to watch those dipped runs for channel run, balls in behind. So I think we've got to be ready for the mix of it, I think, Asif. But I think there's still as much quality, right? I mean, Aggie's started the season really, really well. I saw a free kick the weekend, which was excellent as well. So scoring many different goals. So we've got our task cut out for us, but we are a mean defence. So we've got to make sure we rest on that as well and make sure we can lean into that quality we have to.
Cheers, Mark. Best luck.
Thank you, Asif. See you soon.
Thanks, Asif. Emma, please.
Mark,
good morning, Em. Hope you're well.
Yeah, good, thank you. I've been looking into the evolution of kind of the female goalkeepers in the modern era in the WSL, and you mentioned Fallon earlier, and I would put her up there as one of the great examples of a modern goalkeeper. I just wanted to get your take, really, as someone who's been in the game for a while. As what do you think has helped the development of female goalkeepers, and what do you think is kind of the big move towards this modern goalkeeper, if you like?
Yeah, I think there's always a balance with goalkeepers, especially when I've been lucky, like since I've been at Birmingham, we had Anne-Catherine, we had Hannah Hampton, Fran Stenson at the time, and then as I went over to America, I had Ashlyn Harris and so on, and then we come back and we've had Mary and we've had Fallon. Really, we've obviously Saf and that as great understudies. So I think the reality is, Emma, I think the athleticism of goalkeeping has got a lot greater. And I think the development of sports science has got a lot greater. I think the due diligence. I can speak for Fallon specifically. She's a notebook person, so she's in meetings writing down the key themes, key points. So I think that progressive professionalism has kicked in, and is accelerating the growth as well. I think Fallon is a bit unique because of her athletic prowess. Like, she has the ability to move around the goal really quickly. But the other aspects that are developing, obviously tactical knowledge, building structural knowledge. I also think they have to adapt as well, Emma. Like, everybody prides themselves on just short passing for goalkeepers. Actually, you can see the way Hannah does as well. Like, the distribution is really key, and I think those developing areas, professionalism, sports science, and actually just the way that players are actually absorbing the game is leading to a goalkeeping revolution. I think the coaching's getting better as well, to be honest. And that's no disrespect. I just think everybody's learning together. So, and you're seeing it because it's an isolated position. I think you're seeing it. I think you can see it, the growth of it, and long may it continue as well. Because, I'm sure you remember when all the memes and the trolls would point towards the goalkeepers being the worst position. That's by far nowhere near the same story now. So, I think those are parts that will help the evolution of goalkeeping.
Yeah, that's basically why I'm looking into it, because I agree about the old memes and the trolls. You mentioned Hannah Hampton. Obviously, you worked with her similar question, but I suppose how have you seen her specific development now that she's at Chelsea? Obviously, she's just won the Ballon d'Or award.
Yeah, I sometimes think that those Ballon d'Or, you can only get into it by being in a certain team at a certain point. So like, there's always that part. But the reason Hannah is exactly that is because she's always had incredible ability with the ball. But I think she's added that to concentration and making bigger saves. I think that is the key focus. I think that was always an area for Hannah, because she was so ball orientated when we had her as a youngster, that actually she'd make a few mistakes. But actually now what she's done, she's matured, got herself to a position where she's making big saves as well. And I think that's the key. She's got, again, great athleticism. But I think those are the key differences with Hannah. She's matured and she's got herself into positions where she's making big saves in big moments. And I think that's, if you notice, Chelsea are conceding a few of those chances, but she's now making the saves. And I think that is the difference, and that's a surer part of why she's grown to where she is right now.
Thanks, Mark. All the best on Friday.
Thank you, Em. Have a good day, mate.
Cheers.
Thanks, Emma. Tom, please.
Good morning.
Morning,
Just
Tom.
following on from that, are these the two best goalkeepers in the league?
I can only speak for mine. I think she is. So I won't comment. I think Hannah's an exceptional goalkeeper, but that's for her team to decide. But for us, I think we have an incredible goalkeeper. I've said it many times. A pleasure to work with. Always trying to learn. Always trying to get better. And for shot stopping, I think we definitely have the best. Hannah has different attributes as well, which I think will kind of accelerate her into those conversations. But for us, I'm really, really, really happy with the growth that Fallon's made over the time we've had her.
And are these the two best teams in the league?
Right now, you would suggest that on this Friday, then they're going first and second. So I'd suggest by league position, potentially, yes. But honestly, Tom, I think I've watched all of the games so far, and I think there's loads of quality in this league. I really do. So, I mean, let's see come the end of the season, Tom. But right now, just by league standing solely, then you'd have to say yes.
Super. See you on Friday, Mark.
Thank
Cheers.
you, mate. Have a good one. See you later.
Thanks, Tom. Amy, please.
Hi, Mark.
Good morning, Amy. Come on, Amy. Are we the best pressing versus the best defending? Come on, which one are we? Go on, go.
I was going to ask you a bit about Chelsea, and I know you talked about earlier kind of the differences from last season to this season, and there's not that many in terms of how they play, but the way that they're setting up this season, I know that they kind of played with the back three against you in the FA Cup final, played it in the game before that against Liverpool, and I think a lot of us thought, is this just a little one-off, and they've sort of built on it. How much more difficult does it make to plan against them when, I think you'll have seen the game against West Ham on Sunday, the shape was quite hard to sort of work out. That must be quite difficult for you as an opposing manager in a way.
It is. I think there's themes though, isn't there? There's themes and structures you can build upon. Like, obviously they played a 5 or a 3 depending on how they build it against us, and that's probably because they're good at counter-attacking, right? So they block up the back line and counter fast with the players that they have. It also gives you spaces higher up because you've got to press them higher. And I've no doubt, look, that they have behaviours. When I watch teams, it's behaviours, and regardless of shape, they have the same behaviour. So it's a principle-led kind of conversation around players. They have the thing with Chelsea, that what makes them difficult is they have so many players that they can rotate in and out that can change the way that same structure plays. But I would say, and I suggest, I've seen them in a 4-1-4-1 this year. I've seen them in the free connotation. I've seen with Ellie Carpenter running really high. So it is difficult, but I think once you know the themes, you can try and stop them as best you can. And that's where I allude back to, we're going to have to be at our best in individual moments as well, because they're going to have isolated 1v1s. So we've got to learn about the opponent and stop that. So that'll be the key details. But also, and then this is the all flip side, they've also got to defend against you. So if they're open and their structure's open, and then all of a sudden you can play the quality that you have, then they have to defend differently, which means they can't attack as frequently as they want to. So it will be a cat and mouse game. And I think we spoke about in before our coaches as well, that it's 2 games versus Chelsea, the first 60 and then the last 30, because they adapt and change their players, and the players coming in adapt the game. So you have to try and win both games.
And for you, this will be the first time of 6 weeks where you're looking at the weekend game and then looking ahead next week to the Champions League phase game, how much do you think as the season goes you're going to think about Vålerenga on Wednesday, picking your team, kind of thinking about the squad rotation, especially you mentioned it before, getting it right, knowing that you don't have the deepest squad, or is it just deal with Chelsea, then deal with Vålerenga?
In this one, it's deal with Chelsea, deal with Vålerenga because it's far enough away, if that makes sense. If it's Sunday and then Wednesday or Sunday, well, then it is slightly different. There's still like a 5-day recovery phase, or 4-day recovery phase. So right now it's about trying to win this game and then Vålerenga. But you're absolutely right. Going past that, then the game beyond and the game beyond, then I have to start looking at the teams. And you already predict, because you can work ahead, you already predict who might be better suited. And look, I'll be very clear, Amy, I'm going to get that wrong at times. Like selection is the hardest thing as a manager. I think every manager says that because you disappoint people and you've got to keep them in flow because the next game's coming. But if you know anything about players, they only think the next 90s are only 90 that they're ever going to play. So they forget about everything else. So I think, I will look at that. I'll look at the ahead. But as I say, this game is about trying to win it. And then Vålerenga's slightly different.
Cool. Good luck, Mark.
Thank you, Amy. Good to speak to you, mate.
Thanks, Amy. Holly, please.
Obviously, we know how good Chelsea are, but how important is it that you focus on your own performance instead of what threats they possess?
Hugely important, Holly. We spoke about this against Arsenal when, they're a team that has incredible talent to attack you, but actually if you don't attack them with the all right quality, then you're going to be defending for the whole game. So I think we have to strike that balance. We're in a good space. We're in a really good space. We need that consistency over 90 minutes, but we need to use that advantage against Chelsea. And look, we expect a tight game, but we've got to show our qualities with the ball. If we do that, then Chelsea will have to defend and we can ask them the questions and see if they've got the answers to them.
And obviously we're seeing partnerships with like Turland and Mallard. How important is it that they take their opportunities in front of goal as they've not done previous games against Chelsea?
Yeah, it's hugely important. Like, it's going to be the key determining factors, I think. I think we'll create chances, we just have to take them. And that's easier said than done, of course, but I think they've been clinical in most games so far. So, and what I'd say to you is like the supporting players that are coming are going to be starting over the next few games as well, like Celine and obviously Frido and so on, that they can add that quality too. So it's not just about those two. I think Tooney's been exceptional as well. So it's about all of us pulling our weight and pulling it as a team, and then that's the way that you can try and create goals and score them.